we're in like the third act of the final episode, so we start getting blasted with all kinds of big old payoffs now.
Yeah.
Oz enters the hospital with Vic to basically do his huge victory lap. He has done it. It is done. This is beautiful. This is wonderful. There his mum is in hospital. She's doing okay. It's beautiful. He's like, look. And there's a little report, which is possibly the worst effect of the whole series. The the obviously fake, like, City Hall that they're against. Unless it is in universe supposed to look, you know what I mean, like that they've cobbled together a quick stage to make this announcement. But I assume it's supposed to be they're supposed to look like they're outside City Hall.
Yeah,
but it looks awful. It's like,
maybe it's just that. Maybe it's just that Gotham smog. You know,
that's what it probably is. But yes, they say to the crooked politics that have allowed wealthy elites like Sofia Falcone to wreak havoc. He says, "This is all me." Which is true. He's facilitated all this and having that fucking Haiti announce that, like, crooked politics. Like, you know, it's just kind of brilliant. And he's wasted no time to get what he wants, which is the appreciation for his victory, the validation. And he realizes his mum's not responding. She's barely even seeming to recognize he's in the room. And he gets told she has suffered a serious stroke. The strokes left her in a persistent vegetative state, and given his mother's age and her Lewy body diagnosis, he says, "What the fuck are you talking about? You're saying she's a fucking vegetable? Her eyes are open. Look, she's looking at fucking something. You're an idiot. Get the doctors in here. Get a doctor in here." You know, just keeps repeating it over and over again. He's clearly on the verge of absolutely losing it. And again, it feels like I'm a broken record, but what can I say? The performance here from Colin Farrell is exceptional. And it's a complicated thing to watch him distraught over the damage that's been done to his mother for reasons that are not at all the same as what the average person would expect.
Well, no, because in this case, it's like, what's he looking for? He's looking for her to be able to say, yeah, good job, in a much more jovial way than that, but that's what he's looking for. He wants her to be all right so that she can provide him the validation that he needs on his basically day of total victory.
This is a catastrophe just because he can't get those words out of her. That's all he needs. That's all he wants. It's not that she's got a
It's not that she's suffering right now.
And he says, you know, don't do this to me, Ma. Don't do this to me. You can't do this to me. You gotta tell me. Tell me you're proud of me. Tell me, please, come on, just tell me you're proud of me. Tell me I did good. I did it for you. I did it all for you. The whole thing. I'm the fucking king. It's what you wanted. It's what you wanted. Please, just once. Which again, obviously you're gonna have to watch the scene yourself if you want to see the kind of performance we're dealing with here. It's incredible.
Stellar.
It's the whole season has built this. It's done an exceptional job. This is the kind of thing you want to see. Writing and acting working real hard together to create.
Together as a team.
Yes, instead of
not one pulling the slack of the other.
Yes, and it's so perfect too. He can sell you with the performance that it is absolutely so fucking sad that he's like losing his mother and everything, but the dialogue is very specific. It's all about him. It's not about her. All of what he's saying.
You need to give me the things that I want.
Her health's not relevant, like we said, and the lack of ability to provide him like closure or the entire challenge being completed. He finally got it. It's just not there. It's not happening. Absolutely driving him nuts. And yeah, a really good scene. And Vic puts his hand on his back to be like, you know, sorry this has happened. I wonder if Vic understands.
Yeah, exactly. That Vic would be looking at it in the way that you would be looking at it for a normal person, not Oz, not Oz as he is to truly be understood.
Mm-hmm. And
which
so
brings us to
the Sophia scene hits, right? And the Francis scene, that hits hard too.
Yeah.
But holy shit. So
yeah, luckily I can get a moment to breathe. Jeez, calm down, show.
Yeah. Nice little gap. So he says, "You think she forgives me?" And Vic's like, "For what?" He says, "I don't know, all kinds of things. None of this came easy. Can't stop thinking about him. You know, my brothers, what kind of men they would have been if they had a chance, and what they'd think of me now. Which I think is such a fucking good choice of line that you can almost slip into thinking he's talking about the men that he took the lives of, right, and the potential that he killed. But they simultaneously throw in, it's like, would they think I've done good? Would they think I'm strong? Would they think I've, like, done right by the mum and stuff? It's like, you killed them. Like, I think that they would have opinions on that, but simultaneously just, imagine all of the thoughts he's having in his head at the same time of what alternate pathways could have been done, right? And how much better things maybe could have been had he not killed them. Who can say? Who can know? I imagine lots going through because of certain decisions that are going to be made pretty soon. And Vic says he thinks about his family too, and he really, really misses them. Something of a thing they can bond over, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I would say, like, the scene, what a start. It's such a heart-to-heart. They both lost so much, and they've both achieved so much together. You kind of can easily be tricked into a sense of, you know what, Vic and Oz, they could be together for a long time. They could do all kinds of things. They could see this being a team they've really properly 100% built really well. And he says, you know, I couldn't have done any of this without you. Bringing Link into the fold, I didn't see it at first, but it was a smart move. And he says, thanks for taking me in, taking a chance on me. You're like, that he even stutters on, he says, family to me, you know? And that is the key word he absolutely should not have said, and they make sure you understand that's the one that makes Oz make a decision. His face definitely has a change after he says that. And he says, you and me, all that's left. It's good that we met. You see me at my lowest, all this shit with my ma, but listen, kid, I can't bring you with me this time. He says, what do you mean? He's like, well, something about family. It's your strength, it drives you, but fuck if it doesn't make you weak. And I can't have that anymore. I can't have that shit. I can't, it's too much. And starts strangling Vic quite aggressively, and I believe this was the hardest hitting payoff for pretty much everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
This was
This is brutal. This is rough.
In case for just a fleeting moment you forgot that Oz is a absolute piece of shit fucker, you have been reminded.
So, like, it's an incredible payoff. Why?
Yep.
Well, because first of all, why don't we just talk about, this is something writers don't even have the balls to do these days. You rarely get to see something this good.
Plotting the courage to make this be the end of Victor Aguilar's story. After all of that, all the change, the big arc he went on, how instrumental he was in the plot, after his own sort of tragic backstory with his family, finally doing all this, finally getting to this point, and opening up to somebody like that. Oof. Man.
The commitment to making that happen is something that I am impressed with and would do nothing but give praise to the team that either came up with it, executed it, whatever have you. Just good job, because I know this would have been something they would have fought over. Probably they probably would have said, like, do we, should we, I don't know, maybe we don't have to.
People won't like it if he kills Victor.
And people didn't, but it's more complicated than that. It's like, a lot of people would have wanted him to absolutely survive the season, but look at everything they've shown us across this season, everything we've come to understand. The issues with Oz and his mother have occupied a significant amount of time, and they change a lot about any given goal that Oz has. He has to account for her, he has to take care of her, he has to ensure that she has the capacity to, can give him the validation he was after, and simultaneously acts as this anchor point that's going to, if anyone finds out about her, be used against him as efficiently as he uses family members against his enemies. And so, you want talented people working for you, you want good, loyal henchmen, but at the same time, Vic has climbed so high as a result of all the different things they've been through. He now cares about him too much. And he recognizes that, and he knows now that Vic, if anyone was smart enough to use him would be able to use him as a way to get anything out of Oz to destroy the empire he plans to build. The dream's ready. It's viable. It's all good to go. But Victor could destroy it without intending to, with this kind of viewpoint Oz has on the world and his own weaknesses. And that is rough, cruel, horrifying, and, like I said, expected. What's kind of interesting about this is me and Fringy's early, I think, as either episode 1 or 2, were saying that we thought this season would end with Oz killing Vic. And
yes, it just seemed like it was a direction that the story could go. Part of it, I think it almost does speak to a degree of confidence in the writers, the creators of this show, because the very expected storyline is these two were brought together by circumstance. They become real friends. They connect. They both essentially enable each other's success. And in a sense, you could say that there's a tragedy that Vic, there's an alternative path where he went and lived a normal life, but instead here he gets driven down, like this life and does bad things. But at the same time, you would look at that and still be like, well, sure, but that's not like given what this show is and what people know it is and what they expect from it and kind of if they're watching it at this point, what they understand about it, they can still look at that and be like satisfied essentially with that as a storyline. Compared to the Penguin is so devoid of a lot of the moral scruples that prevent people from taking these kinds of action. He is so committed to himself above all else that this guy who's been nothing but loyal to him, nothing but he's done everything he's asked basically. He's helped him. He's put his life on the line for him. That all of that essentially dooms him in his eyes, that he has to get rid of him. He's got to go because he's a vulnerability. And Penguin, again, it's like he recognizes that he cares for Vic enough that he would do this, which speaks to a very twisted mind. I like you so much, Vic, that you got to go, is essentially the conclusion that he's formed here. It's horrible. It's terrible. It's really, really, really difficult to watch. Especially when you hear Vic begging him to stop. It is rough, and it speaks to a something we've already talked about with this show. The balls to have this be the way that the story ends, because this is upsetting. This is meant to be upsetting. It's obviously upsetting. It's upsetting enough that it could alienate people, where they'd be like, dude, fuck this. Like, I hate this. Like on a very visceral level, but it really is just a matter of them being committed to the character that they've created here. This is the decision that he would make at this point, given everything that we've seen about him up to now. And it's a decision that he makes that is very different from the way that you would think that he would, because the impression you get in episode 1, we talk, something that even Penguin talks about. It's like, Vic, would be a good idea to get rid of you. But then he takes a chance on him. And the way that you would normally read that, and that you would read it at that point, is, oh, see, Penguin's a bad guy, but like there are things that you can get through to him on. There's something in there that will make him take a shine to certain people, be willing to, essentially like afford a chance to somebody who he sees himself in. But that instead, the conclusion is, he ended up liking that guy so much that he got rid of him in order to build his empire for himself. It's like, wow, what a fascinating character you've created here.
During Vic's struggle, he's just saying like, please, please, please. You see, he scratches him as well. I think just paralleling with all of the... He starts fighting
a bit more aggressively.
Well, it's the strangulation victims of all the hangman stuff, right? Like, it's just so gross.
And just the level of delusion as well of, like Oz being like, you're a good man, Vic. It's like, dude, what do you think that this is going to be worth to Vic? What do you think it's going to be worth to say that you're sorry to him while you're doing this? Like, all of this is just... It's
no
just
hard feelings.
Well, and obviously Vic's not going to, he's not going to get this.
No, of course. Well, that's the thing. It's like he doesn't... It, like, takes him a while to even grasp what's happening because it's so unexpected. But at the same time, it's like you said. As soon as he said, "You're like family," you can see that that there's a thought going through Oz's mind, or rather, it's not even a thought that's gone through his mind. It's like you said, Mauler. He has made a decision now. And I don't know what is to be made of the expression that he has as he's doing this. It's a really hard one to pin down. It's like he's holding back. It's deranged, I think, is the best way to describe it. He's got a very deranged look at this point, which you've seen. I would say that a lot of the time he doesn't look deranged. There's different ways that you would describe his expressions, but this is very much like, this is just the manifestation of a dude with an insane mind, an absolutely like crazy way of viewing the world, rationalizing his actions in that world. This is I think it's the reality is, up to this point the writing has been so strong throughout the show that you could have said it was great pretty early on. I think this is essentially the scene along with the two preceding scenes that essentially seals the deal on this show. This is very much like, you have actually delivered a really fantastic ending to the story that you've created.
You nailed the finish line. You were willing to commit on the setups. You're right, 100%. This was. I mean, like, you've already talked so much about it. What else could I say?
And it got
incredible respect.
A lot of people talking about this scene when it happened.
I can believe it.
Well, you remember, what was it? Colin Farrell was like, "Yeah, man, you're gonna really hate the Penguin, like after this show or something, or like the show will make you hate him." And I think at a certain point, you're like, "Well, what are you talking about? That's like beyond what we'd know about Penguin, what you've already seen." It's
killing Salvatore, for example, we would be like, that's kind of expected. It's like killing all the Falcones or something like that. We're like, yeah, I could see that. And it's like, killing Sophia, it's like, well, depending on how sympathetic they make her, that could be enough, maybe. But it's like killing Vic, like, oh, that could be it. That could be the thing.
That's it. Yeah, that's the thing. Of it's like, it's so, it's just, it really is. It's tough to watch.
And again, performances, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
And as if the scene wasn't brutal enough, Oz takes his wallet, pulls out his driver's license, pockets his money,
his cash,
and then tosses the license into the water, sinking below, symbolically allowing Vic to have the same fucking fate as his family. Like, I thought that was particularly a brutal touch, having him fade under the water.
Yeah,
the driver's
it's just
license.
Like, it will be forgotten.
So brutal.
His life, everything that he did. It's just like, yep, that's the end of that. Taking his money as well. So the fuck is your problem, man?
Quite pragmatic, I guess.
Yep.
I guess so.
Nothing if not efficient, you know. So with that scene over, you see Sophia is back at home in Arkham, and just, you can tell, fucking joke around too, like she's just losing it. What a fucking fate. And Julian Rush is back working there, I guess, to keep an eye on her. And he says, you got some mail from Selena Kyle, who says she's your half-sister, which would be true.
Like, oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because of Carmine. So yeah, looks like they are far from done with Sophia, and that's good news.
Obviously.
That is very good news.
Decision.
Yeah.
That's the correct decision.
And it looks like she's happy
those two
to
get up together.
Happy to read the letter as well. So yeah, I'd be curious to see where they take Sophia next, because honestly, it could kind of be anywhere, especially teaming up with Selena.
Well, depending on whether it's television or if it's in the Batman 2.
Mm-hmm. But then we come back to Oz, and he's looking very dapper in a new outfit. He's got his new, improved plum car.
And he's got a top hat.
He does. He's no monocle, but we'll forgive him for that. It's okay.
That'll be a bit. It's a bit. Yeah.
And we even get a little shot of him admiring himself in the mirror, making sure he's up to snuff. And he enters a room in the penthouse with his mum, in a vegetative state, staring out into the city. And fucking hell, camera closes in on her face, and you see a tear drop from her eye. And then he says, I know, it's everything you wanted.
Jeez.
It's so fucking cruel. And obviously, the scene we talked about earlier, it's everything she was desperate to never have happen. And this is all he ever wanted in almost the best version for him. She can't, hurl insults. She can't deny the validation.
Well, he's in a position to twist every single thing in a way that affirms him.
And now she's living this knowing he knows she knows, and he's still doing this. This is just hell. This is absolutely hell.
Yeah. I don't know who you'd say would have who got the worst end. Obviously, Penguin, from his perspective, he got the best ending. In terms of who got the worst ending, it really is a competition between Sophia, Vic, and Penguin's mom.
I feel like Francis has the worst one. Vic gets to be dead, and Sophia's gonna get out, but
she'll have opportunities. But this is Francis's fate until death.
It's so cruel, and once again, teeth. You got him. You didn't spare the character because you could have done that, but you didn't.
The monster you enabled is
Ugh, what a rough way.
Cruel irony.
And Penguin is very happy with himself and walks into the other room. You see Eve dressed entirely in the outfit that his mum always had on in those in the hall they were in when they were dancing. He's got her dressed up the same way. He just says, "Tell me you love me. Tell me you're proud of me. Tell me I did it." And he says, "I did it, Ma, didn't I?" And it's actually just running the fantasy in his head. Completed it, and she's obviously indulging in it because now she's with the richest, most successful gangster in Gotham. Top floor in the penthouse. She says, "I knew you'd do it, my beautiful boy. Gotham's yours. Nothing is standing in your way now." And he says, "You're so goddamn right." Which, his fucking twisted psyche, she's just running along for the ride. He's done everything, achieved everything. It's all wonderful. It's great. It's brilliant. And as kind of expected, we pan out into a big old wide shot of the city, and we see the bat signal turn on.
Yeah.
Remember, this is a Batman show, sort of. It's like, it really was. It reminded me, like, oh, yeah, that's right. Batman, this is a DC show. This is
on the angle of, Batman probably should have been more present in the series. I'll give him that. But at the same time, this is a weirdly relieving final shot, considering everything we just saw. It's like,
this is restrained. This is so restrained.
Oh, I agree with that. I was actually going more so for the angle that he is such a horrifying monster, being reminded this is Batman's world and he's gonna get him.
Oh yes, of course. This is the end of the Penguin, but this is not the end of his story, and it is almost certainly bound to end very badly for him.
Yeah,
it's like it's your small glimmer of hope amidst the misery and tragedy of this story. As a Batman's out there, and he's probably going to come and get him.
After watching it, you want Batman to beat him into paste. Like that's kind of and that it means the show did its job.
Yes, the show has succeeded in creating a very contemptible villain that you're going to be thrilled when Batman gets him, or you see whatever his demise will eventually turn out to be. But I feel like, again, I'd want to mention that again, that the amount of restraint. I think when Muller and I, when we were watching it, we thought that the most that we would get was essentially this. I think I said that I thought maybe it would be that Batman is like perched on the adjacent building. You see a silhouette for like a split second, and then it cuts to black. This is pretty similar to that, I suppose you could say. It's basically the same idea.
Well, a silhouette would almost imply that he's on him already,
ready to get him.
While a bat signal is more so a reminder of who's running around in this city.
I think they made the right choice.
Yeah.
I think they made the right choice. My idea is not as good as their idea.
But that wraps it up. That's the full season of The Penguin. It's an excellent show. What can I say?
It really is.
It really is excellent.
What a pleasant surprise amidst a sea of disappointment.
Jeez, you're right. There's been so many disappointments this year the idea that we can walk away from 2024 saying, well, you know what? wasn't a complete loss.
Yeah.
I'm very glad. I'm very glad about that.
Like I said, I was 50-50
cool.
on even watching it. This is but like I was asked to, so I'm up to date to talk about it on a show. And I was just like, yeah, okay. And I was like, oh wow, look at it go. Okay. But that distrust though, it was going all the way up till the last episode. I was like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. And it comes through completely and utterly. And it's so great to be able to have it like that. Kind of like Arcane Season 1, where it's a complete package. You can pick this up physically, you can celebrate it, it is what it is. Even if there's a terrible Season 2 someday, this is the way it is, and we can be happy about that. We've recommended it a couple of times, and so if you still haven't watched it but went through this entire discussion, okay.
Watch it. You should still watch it.
You should still watch
there is a
it.
lot. There is a lot that we didn't talk about, and a lot of the stuff we did praise greatly is like it's going to be acting and micro expressions and subtleties like that you just can't truly explain in this format that we have.
Yeah, us talking about it should never replace you.
It's not a substitute for watching it.
Those are two different experiences, and we fully recommend you checking it out. And full credit to Lauren LaFranc, as far as I'm concerned. She's probably the primary person responsible for why this is as good as it is. Obviously not to denigrate anyone else's involvement, including the actors, but holy shit, that script. Good job.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I don't know what to say other than, like, obviously there are a variety of things that were working in this show favor. Great performers, great production design, like cinematography, all of these aspects were working, but man, that writing discipline was there. It really was. As paired with some goddamn ambition when it comes to storytelling as well. This is a really interesting idea for a television series. A lot more interesting than you would think, given like what it is. Like
I never would have expected they would do this. I was expecting some basic bitch crime stories where, like the job where he has to move the drops business. I would have expected that to take 4 episodes, and it would have been lame and laborious, and that's that.
I don't know. It's maybe it sounds a bit silly to say it, but I feel it's apt to basically say that this is like the DC equivalent of Andor as a project.
Yeah.
A seemingly perplexing idea that is sort of baffling that it exists, that was taken on by people who had an idea and the ability to deliver, and then ended up creating something that kind of initially flew under the radar, but then got more and more attention as people started realizing, oh, this is like for real. This is like a for real television series that's worth watching. I suppose what's interesting is that if there was a question of, well, what do you hope or expect in the future? It's like, well, there could be a season 2. And if it's got the same quality of writing, that would be really exciting. It could be that the Batman Part 2 was going to be different, and that it will be changed to incorporate more of this, which I also think would probably be a good idea.
I would like
it. It could just be that this has an impact on future DC television shows going forward. Almost in the sense that I don't know that you learn the wrong... I don't know what it would mean to learn the wrong lessons from something like Penguin, in the same way that it could be said for other shows. But then again, I didn't think Arcane Season 2 was going to be what it was. So,
yeah.
Maybe it could be that the wrong lessons are learned. I hope not.
On that note, Matt Reeves has confirmed Season 2 is in development, and he said he's been talking to showrunner Lauren LaFranc about doing another season, that this first season was a special experience, and he feels really fortunate. These characters don't belong to him, they belong to the world, so it comes down to whether you can approach them in that way and express something personal. So hopefully,
hooray. That's what I like to hear.
I'm gonna want to see her name mentioned if ever there's ideas of a season 2. It's like, please give her enough power to do this again, because
if she is not doing season 2, then I'll be like, well, tell me where the fuck she is so we can watch that then.
Exactly. It's it's the kind of thing where it's like, this kind of belongs to her, and it would be really fucking stupid of you to not take advantage of what makes it work.
It would be really foolish not to get the same group of people back on board. But then again, I get the impression that maybe they still got more ideas, more ways that they think that they could take the story. Though my guess would be that a second season would probably be more integrated. Not that this wasn't. I think that this show does a pretty good job of feeling like it slots into place as a sequel series to the Batman. It feels like it takes place in the same world.
Yeah.
But it might be that it's more characters from the Batman could be showing up and playing a role. If like the goal was to, if the goal was not to carry forward the story of Penguin into like the next Batman movie, but to almost like have it be here while Batman 2 is doing a different storyline. Really, I mean, as long as it's good, I mean, I'd be happy just for more of it. That's really all there is to it.
Yeah, and with the state of DC, we can't be sure of anything really.
No, but it's going to be awkward the longer. Like if Penguin season 2 is really good, if Batman Part 2 is really good, it's going to get a little bit awkward. Of like, man, there's like this adjacent universe that potentially could be a lot more worthwhile than what's going on with the DC universe, right? Especially if they end up being successful, like commercially, which it looks like the Penguin's been pretty successful.
I mean, it was cool to see the show comes out and then everyone's talking about how well written it is, how impactful it was, and none of that bullshit of just talking about, oh, did you see the Scarecrow glove? Like that's all that matters, you know? Oh, did you see the extra credit scene?
There were some people who were like, oh yeah, we're eating good for like comic book TV shows, the Penguin and Agatha all along.
Oh. Yeah, putting those two together that's just criminal. The fuck is wrong
unbelievable. With you? It's unbelievable that some people can't tell the difference between the two.